Welcome to the 6-week yoga challenge with Tamara. This is week 2 of 6. Today's practice, I've prepared all floor postures for us. So we begin in Sukhasana, easy seated pose. One hand on the heart, one hand on the navel, and closing our eyes lightly, breathing long and deep, allowing our chin to lower toward the chest, and then just letting our head kind of roll from left to right. Softening through the hips and the shoulders and releasing tension off the neck. And then the gaze rises and we're just moving the head now from side to side with the chin parallel to the ground. Inhale one way, exhale the other. Coming to center, flutter the eyes open. We bring our hands together into Anjali Mudra, prayer gesture, interlace the fingers and then press the palms away. So we bring the hands in and then extending the arms, press the palms away. And we're feeling this as a stretch in the fingers and the hands, the wrists, and then starting to explore our range of motion in the shoulders, lifting maybe just a little bit higher each time, and then eventually the arms lower by our sides. Coming into our side bends, left arm over ear and down, and to the other side, right arm over ear and down. Just kind of going side to side. If having the full arm over ear feels like too much here, you could always soften this by placing one hand behind the head. Instead of extending the arm fully, you could also have your hand on the hip. All right, so now we're sweeping, bringing a windmill over to the left side and then sweeping both arms over to the right. Windmill through center. Just kind of playfully going from side to side and expanding the ribs. Pausing here on the left, and then we'll reverse the direction, windmilling over to the right side. Sweep out in front, windmill over. And just kind of lengthening a little bit more each time if that's available to you. That makes this a dynamic stretch. And then we're pausing over here on the right side, bringing our hands to the knees, and we'll begin circling through the hips. So we should feel this as a stretch in the low back and the hips. Just doing pelvic circles. This could be a small movement, or the more you fold over the legs, it could be a bigger movement. It's up to you. And just a reminder here, please listen to your body. If something hurts, stop, modify wherever you need to. I'll try and explain where you can, but just tune in to what's the best practice for you today based on these suggestions. And finishing our hip circles, change the cross of the legs, bringing our hands onto the shins now so we can do some spinal flexion. So we lean back and round the back and then pull through and arch. Inhale, lift, exhale, round. Moving at your own perfect pace. When we lift, we feel that expansion of the neck. When we round, we feel a stretch in the upper back, mid-back. All right, let's take our left hand over to the right knee and our right arm behind us, so we come into a seated twist, feeling the right side of the chest lifting and then looking over the left shoulder. Taking that right arm over ear into a side bend with a twist. So you feel a little bit more stretch in the back and the side body when we side bend in this way. And here, just to show you, was the hand behind the head if you need a shorter lever, or even the hand on the hip. And by shortening the lever, it just makes it a little less intense. So you listen to your body and what you need here. Holding the side bend. Then we bring that right hand onto the left knee. Knees lift and we lean back, balancing on the sitting bones, feeling a stretch in the upper back. And then the knees lower, and we'll just keep that right hand on the left knee, bringing the left arm back so that we could have a seated twist to the other side. Left side of the chest is lifting, and then we'll look over the right shoulder. Let the shoulders be low and away from your ears. Here comes the side bend, bringing that left arm up and over from the back space over the right knee, feeling your shoulder and your ear lowering toward the thigh. And now pausing here in the side bend, and then we'll release that hand to the knee, knees both lift up, bow the chin, feeling the upper back to stretch, and we're balancing on the sitting bones. Yep, and now lifting arms overhead so that we can feel a stretch in the chest. Okay, so now let's take our feet out to the short end of the mat and come into staff pose, Dandasana. And let's have a sweeping motion where we are from upright, then the hands go out to the side, sweep forward toward the feet, and then pull back along the sides of the legs. So it doesn't matter how far forward you go. You can soften the knees a little bit, especially if the backs of the legs are tight. Just kind of moving dynamically, exhaling forward and inhale to rise. Now reversing it, slide forward and then circle back to the hips. Slide forward along the legs and circle out. Coming back. Doing this a few times. Perfect. All right, ready for another wrist stretch. Backs of the hands are facing up behind us. Lean into the left hand, then the right hand, and circle around. So it's another hip circle and a wrist stretch. You decide how this feels by how much weight you apply. Let's reverse the direction and how forward or back your hands are. Okay, so now we're going to stretch the left ankle. We can hold behind the leg, can have a bent knee, releasing the arms I'm showing here so that it's like a half a boat. Then bending the knee, bringing the foot down beneath the knee and hugging the knee in. Bow the chin. This is a good stretch in the hip. If you can't hug, just interlace your fingers. Just get the knee coming in. All right, and now we're going to lift and lower some half boat. So it's up to you if you want the foot to come down, if you want to have your hands more on the hips, or going long lever like I'm showing, the leg to fully extend and the arms to rise. Let it go. Resetting our sitting bones by picking them up and dropping them behind. The right knee will come in now for a hug. Bow the head. Nice. All right, we're going to rotate the ankle on this side. You can hold behind the leg. You could have the knee bent. Leg straight is going to be the most abdominal work. And then the dynamic movement. And this is a dynamic strength movement. Lifting the leg, lifting the arms, or choosing not to lift the arms. It's up to you. Ardha Navasana, half boat pose. Staff pose. Okay, here comes a variation of scale pose. And I'm showing you here, you can use fists for wrists, especially if that helps you to lift your whole body weight. You lean a little forward, sitting bones rise. This is strengthening the low back and the belly. And we're done. All right, let's have a couple of swan dives over our legs. So now we're getting a little bit more into the stretch sensation. If you have the space, sliding in a little further each time. Maybe grabbing the ankles, maybe the feet, who knows, maybe the thighs. And then just kind of pausing here for a moment. So lightening up a little bit so that you can bring your face over the knees and just use your nose to draw a big circle around the knees. This is another neck stretch. And then reverse the direction. Great. All right, so tucking the knees underneath, let's come into all fours. Fingers are spread wide. The weight is in the heel of the hands, pads of the fingertips, and we're arching and rounding cat and cow, Chakravakasana. And while at first you might be moving your spine just kind of up and down, maybe begin to articulate if you can. Hips back to heels, extended child's pose. And we'll stretch the right hand forward and the left hand back. And then start to sink into the right armpit. This is going to create a stretch in the right side of the chest. Rising up onto the knees, arms lift like camel pose. Arms into the back space. And then crossing, arms having a shoulder pull and bow, lifting the arms up, let them go in the back space. Let the opposite arm go on top, shoulder pull and bow, hips to heels. And just kind of going back and forth. Just a little while longer. That feels really good. And the shoulders, when we go back, we're strengthening the thighs. Yep, and let's come back into child's pose, Balasana, extended Utthita. And in this variation, left arm is forward, right arm is back, and we're sinking now into the left armpit to stretch the left side of the chest. You control how much you feel by how far that left hand goes forward. Up onto the knees, lifting arms overhead, like camel pose. Great. And we'll return to all fours, bringing left knee in, left leg back. Left knee to left elbow, left leg back, and across a straight leg. So now we're just going to pivot knee to elbow, straight leg across for a toe touch. So we're engaging our core here and prepping ourselves for a really nice stretch. Here comes the IT band stretch. We keep the pinky edge of the foot down and the leg extended across, hips back. And kind of lean into it. All right, returning to all fours. We'll have a cat and cow to clear that out. All right. Now, right knee in, right leg back. Right knee, right elbow, right leg back, and then toe touch across. Knee to bend, leg across. Right knee, right elbow, right leg across. Continuing this a few times until we're ready to hold for our stretch. That is now. Bringing the pinky edge of the foot down, the hips slide back a little bit. You adjust your arms so that you feel supported as you're leaning into that right hip and feeling your IT band stretch. Excellent. All right, let's release the legs out in front and then come to the long edge of the mat. Heading into Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose. So we've got the right foot in the left inner thigh, the left leg is extended, and we start by just folding out over the leg. If your right hand can grab the toes or the pinky edge of the foot, great. If not, just anywhere on the leg is fine. And we're taking the right arm up into the revolved aspect, into the back space, and then sweeping forward. So again, just kind of working that range of motion on the shoulder, and here comes the shoulder stretch. Right arm is tucked behind the back, left arm is holding the leg somehow, and you're feeling those right ribs draw back and the left ribs kind of tucking under. Parivrtta Janu Shirshasana. And now returning to the forward fold aspect over the left leg. Nice. All right, coming on up so that we can just take this over to the other side. Left foot is in the right inner thigh. The right leg is extended. And we're having the left arm extend into the forward fold and then reach into the back space, coming around. We're just lifting up. So we're moving into the revolved and then the regular. So just now we're in the revolved, holding this, tucking the left arm behind the back, feeling the left ribs rolling back and the right ribs kind of rolling forward. Letting that left shoulder release back. And check in with your neck. Make sure your head is in alignment with your spine. If it's not, then you might feel discomfort somewhere on your neck. So that might mean lifting an ear. All right. Whoops. All right, I forgot. We're going to do one more fold over the right leg. And as we're getting near the end of this practice, you can feel free to stretch in deeply if that's available to you. And rise. All right. So let's come into half Lord of the Fishes pose, Matsindrasana. So the bottom leg, the knee is bent, or the leg could be straight, and so the bottom leg is the left, the right knee is bent, and the foot came across. And we're just exploring. You can hug with your left arm, or you can anchor, depending on what feels good. So we're once again stretching that outer hip and having it twist. You're lifting the right side of the chest. There you go. And then counterposing to the left. I'm showing this upright. That's the safest way. Some people like to fold in a little bit, if that's safe to do so in your body. If you have osteoporosis, don't even. All right, coming into the other side. All right. So now we've got the left knee bent and the foot comes across. The right knee is bent underneath. Could always have the leg underneath straight if that feels better. Just make sure you're not sitting on your heel, and hug the leg into the body, looking over the left shoulder. And then counter posing to the other side. That's an open twist. Whereas the other side was a closed twist. And returning to easy seated pose, Sukhasana. We're placing one hand on our heart, one hand on our navel, feeling our breath gently moving in and out of the body, into the navel, up to the heart, feeling a little bit of gratitude. And I thank you for being with me for week 2 of the 6-week yoga challenge with me, Tamara, mindbodynow.com.